Okay, it's 6 o'clock. It's the regular council meeting of Monday, February 28th, 2022. And this webinar is being recorded and will be published to the city's YouTube site. The first item is adoption of the minutes. This is the regular council meeting minutes of February 14th, 2022. The recommendation is that the minutes of the regular council meeting held February 14, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Do I have someone to make that motion?
So move.
Eleanor, do I have someone to second that motion?
Second, Robert.
Councillor Kashoni, thank you very much. Any errors or omissions that you see in the minutes? None. All in favor? Against, if any? Carried. Thank you. Public question period. Ms. Lucchini, have you received any email questions that came in?
I have not, Mayor Payson.
Okay. Do you have anyone in the gallery with you?
There's no members of the public here tonight.
Thank you. So public question period is done then. Item number 3, communications proclamation request. So Trail Smoke Eaters World Championship Teams Day. And the recommendation is that council proclaim March 12th, 2022 as Trail Smoke Eaters World Championship Teams Day in the city of Trail. Do I have someone to make that motion?
So move.
Councillor Gattafoni Robinson, do I have someone to second that motion? Councillor Butler, thank you. Any questions on this motion? Okay, and thank you, Councillor Santori, for bringing this forward last year to recognize our Trail Smoke Eaters. All in favor of the motion? Against, if any? Carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is bylaws, building bylaw amendment bylaw 2915-2022, and this is for adoption. Ms. Lucchini, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Payson. Following a request from the Regional District of Kootenay Boundary, the city agreed to amend the City of Trail building bylaw to exempt the McKelvey Creek landfill and the Columbia Pollution Control Center properties from building permit requirements. This request came about due to changes to the Environmental Management Act and the Contaminated Sites Regulation that came into effect on February 1st, 2021, which require that a site disclosure statement be submitted with building permit applications when soil disturbance will occur as part of the construction. Such requirement would have detrimental effects on the previously noted projects in terms of project delay and added environmental investigation costs. It is also important to note that despite the exemption provided by bylaw, the BC Building Code requirements still apply to any construction to be undertaken with these properties. Building bylaw amendment bylaw number 2915-2022 was provided for second and third reading by council on February 14th and is now before you this evening for adoption.
So moved, Robert.
So the recommendation is that the building bylaw amendment, bylaw number 2915-2022 be adopted. I have a motion by Councillor Kashoni. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Jones, thank you very much. Any questions on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Against, if any? Carried, thank you. So we're on to number 5. This is council committee reports, and Councillor Dobie, you are first. You're still on mute. There you go. Now you're off.
This machine just does not want to cooperate with me. Yes, thank you, Mayor Payson. I don't have a lot to report, but one thing of interest is the Hills to Valley Garden Tour is back on the agenda after being off for, I think, almost 3 years now. The date of the tour is Saturday, July the 9th. As of right now, we will have 8 homes that we'll be visiting from Roslyn through Warfield Trail and out into Fruitvale. Again, there's a luncheon planned and also a bus will be available for people. The prices are being looked at right now, so I should have an update on that in the next couple of weeks. And the Redstone in Roslyn is hosting our luncheon. The only other thing that I wanted to report is we have not really put a lot of detail into the budget this year because of COVID. We felt that it was going to be relatively the same as last year. So we're probably going to go with almost the same budgeted amount. And I'm talking about Communities in Bloom, sorry. And so the budget amount was $110,000. And that probably will be what we'll put forward this year. We have been advised that there will be some judging available this year, but we don't know exactly yet in what categories, and no decisions, of course, until we know that will be made as to whether or not Trail wants to enter. That concludes my report, Mayor Payson, but I would like to ask that after the end of this meeting, we go back into closed for about 5 minutes.
Councillor Dobie, if you checked your email, you would have seen that Ms. Lucchini sent a link. That request has been made. So the link is there.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. And thanks for your report. Is there any questions for Councillor Dobie? Okay, Councillor Kashoni, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Most of the budgets are in the final stages. I'll just go quickly over this because I'll be issuing a final statement, I guess, probably the second meeting in March. The transit budget is going to be at zero. The victim services are going to be at zero. Culture and arts is going to be at zero plus a $75,000 reduction from the motion we got through the other day, which will save the city $70,000 or $35,000 additional. Fire service is only going to go up $6,890, very similar to the animal control increase, or sorry, fire service is going to go up $12,912, about double what the animal control budget will probably go up. The cemeteries is only going to go up $752. So all of this together looks like we're in a pretty good position right now, depending on the final numbers that are going to come in from the main 6 services that we have. The first estimate was at $280,000. And with cooperation of East End and with the cooperation of the board in general and with administration, after they were asked to reduce the budgets as much as they possibly could, we have now moved down from $282,000 down to $105,071. And now we can subtract another $35,000 from that because of the culture and arts, the amount of money we took out of the reserve, because we don't need to have that amount set in reserve anymore. We've got another 450,000 or more in reserve already. We still have a number of budgets to go through finalized. We have a large amount of money in different reserves. So I'll just make a comment on it. And I don't know how accurate this is, but I did talk to a financial guy. When we're sitting with the money in reserves, when you have an inflation rate, and Paul can probably comment on this, or maybe, when you have an inflation rate of 5.1%, when we have 3 reserves sitting at 3 million, 1 million, and 1 million. Now, to me, when we can procure short-term borrowing for under 2% through MIA or MFA, Municipal Finance Authority, when that money is sitting in there, this is what I was told anyways, is that we're actually losing that money per year. So for example, and maybe Paul, if you would comment, because to me, I've tried to convince some members of the board about leaving this money in. For example, on the $3 million reserve amount, the finance guy I talked to said you're losing about $150,000 a year sitting that money in reserve. Paul, could you make a comment on that, or am I right, or is this guy right?
You are, Councillor Kashoni. I would say that effectively inflation is stealing your money. So I don't anticipate, or I don't think that inflation will stay as high as it is in Canada on a continued go forward. But effectively, yes, you're right. I mean, if you're just leaving it there,
yeah,
your buying power is decreasing on you.
So it's decreasing at the rate of inflation per year. This is what he told me.
Mhm.
So this year alone, we would lose 5% of 3 million, which would be 150,000, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
without a
So-
calculator in front of me, but
Yeah.
yes.
So anyways, that's what I was told, and I went through it, and I'm concerned about it because it's almost like you talk about a paradigm shift, which means people simply can't get out of that idea that you have to have these reserves, and yet we know through the MFA. In fact, the rate just went up recently, but we were borrowing from the MFA at 0.9%. So my position was that if in fact you have to do some fairly short range projects, build them over 5 years and pay them by short-term borrowing. But nevertheless, I wasn't successful in getting that through. So right now we're going to probably be setting around $75,000 increase on about a $4.6 million budget. And I think it's going to be a little over 1%, 1.5% or something like that. Just a note though, some of the areas, Greenwood is up 23%. Midway, Montrose are to 10%, 9% for Rossland. And Warfield is up in this area, the highest at 11%. And so we've done fairly well in terms of the City of Trail with cooperation, like I say, of the East End and of the board. And that's all I have unless there's questions. Thank you.
Go ahead, Counselor Santori.
Yeah, with respect to that money in reserve, does the money not get invested in some sort of interest-bearing account? I know they're not high, but at $3 million, I would guess 1.5%, Paul? I don't know.
On a good day, yes.
On a good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was told, Sandy, I was told, but nevertheless, at 5.1 in inflation, even if you get 1.5, you're still losing 4% a year.
No, I agree with you. And
Well, eventually, anyway, we may eventually, maybe not next term when the new council comes in, to write a letter and maybe have one of our, and maybe if Paul's there, I don't know if Paul's going to be there or not, but if somebody write a letter and maybe explain that, given if it keeps going at this rate, that's my real concern. If it's going to be 5% every year, it's a lot of money. So thank you though.
Okay, any other questions for Counselor Kashoni? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. Counselor Gatifoni Robinson, you are next.
I have nothing to report, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Santori, you're next.
Thank you, Your Worship. And seeing that you chaired the GOC, I'd appreciate if you would give that report. But I do want to take this opportunity now under my time to speak to read to you a prepared statement in response to the findings of the third-party investigator. In response, where I was found to have breached the respect section of the Council Code of Conduct, I have apologized to Councillor Kashoni, which I believe he accepted, and I apologize again tonight. I do not deny that during 3 heated and highly frustrating discussions over 3 closed council meetings in June of 2021, that I did shake my head, I did smirk, I did laugh, I did interrupt Councillor Kashoni, and I waved my hands. And yes, in October 2020, my choice of words to describe Councillor Kashoni's behavior were inappropriate. Moving forward, I will endeavor to choose my words and my gestures more carefully when, as in the past, and I will continue to defend the principles of openness, transparency, and truthfulness. I will continue to defend the office of the mayor, and I will continue to defend our dedicated and committed staff when they are being disrespected. It is truly unfortunate and very sad that relationships among some council members have eroded to such an irreparable level and at a significant cost to the taxpayers. While the filings of these complaints by Councillors Kashoni, Doby, Jones, and Gatifoni Robinson may have given them some personal satisfaction and an apology, I ask, was it in the best interest to spend $49,500 to engage a third-party investigator? I would have been more than happy to offer an apology that would have cost the taxpayers nothing. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Councillor Santori? And I am happy to give the GOC report, and thank you for reminding me of that. Seeing none, Councillor Jones, you are up next with your committee reports.
Thank you, Mayor Payson. I have no report at this time.
Okay, Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to keep it short, I have 3 items to report tonight. On the 15th, along with yourself and Councillor Jones, we attended the Respect and Connect Speakers Series presented by the Trail Community Action Team. On the 17th, I attended the LCC-TDS monthly meeting, and on the 23rd, the Chamber of Commerce. Those are my reports. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, do you have any questions for Councillor Butler? Seeing none, we'll move on to my report. So first, I'll take care of the Governance and Operations Committee meeting. So we approved sorry, Councillor Santori, I was not prepared to do this today. I forgot that you usually do it. Council approves the award of a CCV, this is a security system upgrade project at the Trail Memorial Center to Selkirk Security for $50,973.43 plus all applicable taxes. We also awarded the contract for the Trail Memorial Center roof replacement to BF Roofing at the base price of $979,962.60 plus all applicable taxes, fees, and charges. And also, the City of Trail established a 2022 capital budget of $1,093,000 plus applicable taxes for the project. There was an item advanced on the request for to designate the Old Trail Bridge as a historical site, and that was advanced by the Trail Historical Society. And that motion or that discussion was tabled pending a delegation from the Trail Historical Society coming to speak to council to talk about why they want this to occur. Council also approved changes to the City of Trail RV Park camping rates for the 2022 season. The tent sites remain at $25 per night, inclusive of GST. The partially serviced RV sites are increased from $30 a night to $40 a night, inclusive of GST. And the fully serviced RV sites are established at $45 a night, inclusive of GST. We also voted to amend the council policy to reflect a rate of reduction of 10% for long-term use. Our final item on the GOC was that we approved our elections officers for the 2022 general local elections, with Ms. Sandy Lucchini as the chief election officer and Ms. Kim Brooks as the deputy chief election officer for the 2022 general local elections. And we adjusted the pay rates slightly over the 5-year period, which are in line with other municipalities. So that is what happened in the GOC today. I have a couple things on my mayor's report. So I just want to remind everyone that International Women's Day is March 8th. And I just encourage all little girls and women of all ages to reach for your dreams and goals and have fun achieving them. So let's watch out for May 8th and give acknowledgement to everyone who is very deserving. I would also like to thank the Murphy Family Foundation for sponsoring the free public skating. And I want to remind the community that Saturdays between 1 and 2 p.m. and Wednesdays between 5:45 and 7 p.m. There is free public skating until March 30th. To end my mayor's report section, I will also read a public statement regarding the press release that went out today. So first, Councillor Santori, I want to thank you for your part in acknowledging what's going on with the current atmosphere at council and for your apology. I appreciate that very much and thank you. For my part, I take full responsibility for allowing my frustration to show and for any comments which were seen as disrespectful. I am sorry I allowed my frustration to come to the surface. Moving forward, I intend to bite my tongue more, take deep breaths before responding to provocation or aggression, and speak with more precision. I would also like to provide a broader context for the news release that was issued this morning regarding the investigation into numerous complaints against myself and Councillor Santori. Of the multiple allegations, only 2 made against me stood up to the investigator's scrutiny, and she described them as minor breaches of the code based on glib comments I made to Councillor Kashoni. It's important to note that the investigator herself described the complainants, Councillors Kashoni, Jones, Doby, and Gattafoni Robinson, as unreliable witnesses for their own complaints and dismissed the vast majority of their complaints advanced. It is incredibly regrettable that the toxic atmosphere at council has to date cost the city $419,250. Councillor Kashoni's breach of the code of conduct, which led to the loss of our chief administrative officer, has cost the city $369,750 in wages, benefits, and legal counsel to date. These retaliatory complaints against Councillor Santori and I have cost an additional $49,500. This frivolous and time-wasting behavior is not in the best interest of the citizens of Trail. We owe it to the citizens of Trail who entrusted us with a mandate to act in their best interests. I encourage every member of council to re-engage in respectful workplace conduct with each other and with our staff to ensure a respectful workplace is upheld in the future. Recommit to good governance by coming to council meetings with an open mind and free of advanced discussion, ready and willing to serve the citizens of Trail, and maintain focus on the many strategic priorities of the city. I truly hope we can return to true representation of our community moving forward and collectively re-engaged with work that is in the best interest of our community, our beautiful city of Trail. And with that, my reports are done. Does anyone have any questions of me? Seeing no questions. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. There's 2 items on the consent agenda, and there is a request with item 6.1, BC Association of Farmers Markets Nutrition Coupon Program, to write a letter. So if we wanted to move items 6.1 and 6.2, and then we can move to pull that out. So do I have someone to move items 6.1 and 6.2?
So move.
Councillor Santori and Councillor Doby. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, if any? Thank you. Now, what they requested in the item 6.1 from the BC Association of Farmers Markets Nutrition Coupon Program is to write a letter to the Minister of Health, Adrian Dix. They indicate that our encouragement and feedback can help strengthen support for ongoing funding for the Farmers Market Nutrition Coupon Program and ensure we continue to build healthier BC communities together. In Trail, with the last year of farmers markets, residents redeemed over $38,000 with local farmers at the farmers market. And we proudly partnered the Trail Farmers Market proudly partnered with the Rosslyn Food Bank and the Trail United Church. So I would like to move that we write that letter to Minister Adrian Dix in support of the BC Association of Farmers Markets Nutrition Coupon Program. Do I have someone to second that?
So moved.
Okay, thank you. So I'll move that. Councillor Jones is seconding it. Thank you. Any questions or concerns, comments on that? No. All in favor? Against, if any? Is there anything else on this that needs to be pulled out? None? Okay. And new business? Anything from the floor tonight? No. Okay. So we're moving for adjournment, and it is 6:24 p.m.